So we're gonna look at one of my favorite YouTubers today. He goes by the handle of Tub Frog. Massive football fan. Very, very impressed. I have loved his videos for over a little over a year now. Super big fan. I get genuinely excited every time we get a new Tub Frog video, and he just released one on Tom Brady in Tampa. So I don't know if any of you know me personally, but I'm from is St. Louis sports teams. Then I have a soft spot for the New York Knicks, but I really wouldn't say it goes further beyond that when it comes to New York sports teams. I'm just a big Knicks fan. But that's not true for Tampa. I actually kind of just like Tampa as a city. I like Tampa Bay. I like their sports team. So I wouldn't say I'm a big Buccaneers fan, but I certainly like the Bucks. And if they win, go Tampa. I am a big Tampa Bay Lightning fan. So I was definitely interested when Tom Brady said he was going to go to Tampa Bay. I could not believe it. I couldn't believe it. And I was one of the people that thought there is no way he can do it at this age. I was completely wrong. And I'm so glad Tub Frog made a video about this. I have a lot to say on the subject. So I think this is going to be an awesome way to kind of introduce sports topics because I'm a huge sports fan. As you can see with St. Louis Blues behind well. So someday we'll probably be talking about the Blues and doing a breakdown. But today, about Tampa Bay. So why don't we just get started?
Okay, so tell me, what do you remember about the year of 2019?
What do I remember about the year of 2019? I remember the St. Louis Blues won the Stanley Cup. I was 24. I remember it being pretty consistently, like from start to finish, one of the best years of my life. I absolutely loved it. I had a huge amount of fun when I was 24. I've just in a really good place in my life, and the sports world too. So I remember 2019 very fondly, actually.
I was still in diapers playing Fortnite every day, and this guy right here, Tom Brady, was on the New England Patriots. All was well, but after King Henry ripped the soul out of the Patriots dynasty, Tom's empire.
My God, if you don't know who Derrick Henry is, my God, this Titans team for about 2 years was a problem, man. They were a problem. I remember when they got Ryan Tannehill, who was the quarterback, who's just such a scheme guy. Like he's not the most talented quarterback in the world. He's going to do a lot of play actions. He's really good at that, dropping back. And when you have a running back like King Henry, who can quite literally run over the best defenders in the league, you should run a lot of play actions, a lot of fakes, and just try to either get the ball to Henry or get the other team to think you're going to get the ball to Henry to give you some nice, really, really good. And I forgot they did. Although, if you're a real NFL fan, you'll run trick Fitz magic with the Dolphins, the team that really put the dagger in the coffin for them. The Dolphins and the Patriots have such an interesting rivalry.
Had collapsed. And so this led to Thomas making the biggest decision in sports.
We are being told that Tom Brady, barring anything unforeseen, is expected to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer.
Tom Brady signing with the Tampa Bay Bucks tomorrow. Holy hell.
Tom Brady now officially plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The contract is signed. Tom Brady now officially a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Tom GOAT, the greatest of all time. Tampa Bay fans are happy he's a member of our team.
I think it really gives the city, something uplifting and something to look forward to.
So listen, okay, I'm all for Florida, Tom. It's hot down there. The shirts are less plentiful. I get it. However, the concerns-wise were entirely fair. More likely than not, going to Tampa Bay was going to hurt the legacy of the greatest quarterback to ever play the game.
Well, that's the thing. You got to remember, you have to keep yourself in that 2019 mindset. It was widely believed, despite this man winning 6 Super Bowls, 6, it was widely believed that he couldn't do it without Bill Belichick. Not the other way around. Nowadays, it's just ingrained that it was like, well, Bill needed Brady. Well, we used to think Brady needed Bill, and I think the truth is that they both needed each other, but the narrative has completely flipped. Back in 2019, it really was Brady can't win without Belichick. It almost felt when he went to Tampa, he was kind of saying to all of us football fans, like, hey, watch this. You all don't think I can do it without Bill? Okay. Bill's my favorite coach, the best coach ever. I'm going to do it without him to prove to you that I am the greatest football player ever, potentially.
As the NFL team he joined was, as you probably know, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who were the third least team.
That is a very misleading statistic. That is a very misleading statistic. They didn't have a quarterback. You can't win without a quarterback. I'm a more Ravens a lot, but when you look at what they through when they had Ray Lewis, if they'd have had Joe Flacco for the whole prime of Ray Lewis, they'd have won like 3 or 4 Super Bowls. But they won, what was it? Trent Dilfer is who they won that first one with Ray Lewis. Like that, I mean, I'm not knocking Trent Dilfer, but he ain't Joe Flacco. And so Tampa was in the exact same situation. They were sitting in a place where they had Evans. They had a team around them. They had a coach in Bruce Arians, who I may have said that wrong. I say names wrong sometimes, but he was good. The team was good. They couldn't throw the ball safely. They had my boy Jameis Winston from Florida State University. Is that Florida State University? I think it is. Yeah. The Seminoles, and they won their championship. And he was great. Heisman winner, I believe. Like, he's amazing. But I think he went 30 touchdowns for 30 picks. That's 30 for 30. That's crazy. So he nullified all the good he did every single time. And I will never forget, after this season, when Tampa let him go, he got LASIK. Apparently, he had found out through the offseason he couldn't see properly without glasses on. Didn't even know that. Not like he was wearing contacts or anything. He just was like, oh, wow, apparently I can't see too well. So that was the quarterback the Buccaneers had for 36% win percentage. That's not good.
In the entirety of the 2010s, and the closest thing they had
That
to
was the
excitement
entire
down there was
2010?
Jameis Winston throwing the ball 62 times a game, and whatever Coke John Gruden forgot to pick up in the locker room after a film session from back in the day. So everyone thought that Tom would fail, or at least he wouldn't come anywhere near the success he had in New England. And by everyone,
that was it.
I mean
Yeah.
the entirety of the.
Yeah, I don't think people thought Tom Brady was going to fail. Absolutely not. It was like is he still going to be able to be the Tom Brady we know and love?
Media kept saying he was too old, and Saints fans were praying that he actually was bad, saying things like, come on now, this senile old man was walking into random people's houses, and now he was in the big leagues, okay? Back in New England, he played against Sam Darnold and Ryan Fitzpatrick, and without Belichick, he's nothing. And, they should have been right. This should have been Tom Brady's Michael Jordan joining the Wizards moment, but this is
Tom Brady is like going to Tampa. I bet everybody thought that. I bet everybody thought Tom Brady is going to go to Tampa and he's going to be like Michael Jordan on the Wizards. Like, he just won't be able to do it. I bet everybody thought that. Come on. Yeah, come here.
Mother Brady. And instead, he managed to have another Hall of Fame career starting at the age of 43.
I mean,
And
I will never forget that man
the
broke
first
records
game
the
of
entire time.
Tom Brady, not in a New England Patriots jersey, was hyped up by the whole world, not just the NFL. And to make it even better, it was versus Drew Brees, the man who experienced the absolute best luck versus the absolute worst when it comes to big important games. But it looked like finally the gods would shine down on Drew Brees this year. It turns out an offseason of COVID stuff, no OTAs, and no preseason, while having to learn a whole new system can be pretty tough And Tom Brady knew that the Bucs had a lot of work to do after they got demolished by the Saints. But the thing with this Bucs team was the media sort of framed it as Tom Brady was the savior of this team, which, I mean, yes and no. They had established leaders already like Mike Evans and Levante David, so Tom was not entirely tasked with turning the culture around from Jameis's antics over the past few seasons. But after just
Jameis.
1 week, people literally just gave up on the Bucs.
Jameis Winston has been a better player, and I don't think Tom Brady can turn it around.
The Bucs looked kind of lost. Yes, they had a
Did that man in 2019 say that Jameis Winston was a better player than Tom Brady in 2019? Is that really what that man tried to say? Because he was wrong. He's wrong to this day. That's a wild sports take right there. Wow.
ton of veteran talent like Gronk, Leonard Fournette, LaShawn McCoy was on this team.
Yeah, so for any of you who don't know Tom Brady's former history, he said Gronk right there. So Tom Brady, when he played in New England, the last 3 championships they won, his tight end was Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski was then traded to like Cleveland and he said, you can't trade me. I retire. So he retired and New England had to nullify the trade and they retained his rights. And then he moved to Florida. Tom then went to Florida to play. And then Tom was like, hey, come out of retirement, come play in Florida. And they got the Patriots to send his rights to Florida. It's incredible. So Tom Brady is now in the Tampa with one of his favorite weapons from New England.
And Jason Pierre-Paul as well as Antonio Brown before he eventually
That's a video.
But this whole system with offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich, who literally did nothing after his time in Tampa, had Tom Brady struggling. He played a perfect game versus us because he just loves us like that. He fumbled, damn it. But his stats were down and the pass attempts were up. However, still, Tampa Bay was a good.
I can't believe that is so sad. What it's like to be a Raiders fan, man. Like, oh gosh, I live in Missouri, right? So I do love the Ravens, but like, go Chiefs, right? Patrick Mahomes is like the baby goat, and so we've been so spoiled, man. The Raiders have just been hard. It's been hard to be a Raiders fan for a long time, really, ever since Madden left. Like they find a way to get close to being something again, and then just fall back down. Sub Frog, man. You could have chose any other team besides like them in Cleveland, and you'd have found a little bit more success.
Team, because meanwhile their defense was carrying the load enough to pick up for the entire offensive inconsistencies that just kept coming. And at 7-3, with 2 losses to the Saints and one because Tom CTE got in the way of him remembering what down it was versus the Bears, they were.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Oh my God, I totally forgot about that. Everybody was like, "Whoa, what?" Tom Brady forgot what down it was? No, oh my gosh. That was still crazy. It's like, that's how you know you're an incredible player. When it's news that you're human. Oh my God, he made a human error. Whoa.
Not that bad. But then, after back-to-back losses with the exact same score to the Rams and Chiefs, everyone was panicking all
that Rams team.
The defense was starting to get torched too, which meant Todd Bowles, the Bucs defensive coordinator, had to make adjustments. And as the former guy for the New York Jets, he didn't tend to do that very often, but he actually did. And on offense, the Bucs needed to lock in. They were on a short leash, but the analytics said there was something more here. The Bills and of course the Saints, the Buccaneers were the only team in the NFL without red in any one of these categories. So there was something there. They just needed to put it together. But could they? Could Tom? Time was running out. And in a good division.
See that facility behind Tom right there? So I remember when he went to Tampa and they were preparing for the playoffs, he was like, so where do we practice? Like this facility has windows. And they're like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, somebody could just record our practices. And they're like, what? Well, that's illegal. Like, no, that's against the rule. You can't do that. Nobody would do that. And he was like, we need to practice somewhere without windows. And they like put curtains or something. Like, I can't remember exactly what they did. But that just goes to show you, if anybody wonders, did Tom Brady and the New England Patriots cheat? He made them put curtains on the windows for a reason.
With the division crown basically out of the equation, already gone to the Saints, Tampa's best shot would be a wild card route. And for an old team with Super Bowl expectations, I mean, is a wild card appearance even good enough? Hell no. And so Tom Brady did what Tom Brady did. Kicked down his coach's door and said, "F you guys, we need a run game." And after the Tyreek Hill first quarter massacre of 2020, the Buccaneers were...
Here's how I got my team to use Monday Sales CRM and actually like it. Let me start by saying
maybe the best team in football.
On second down, looking for Gronkowski. He pulled it in. Brady looking deep again.
Well, beating
Mike
the
Evans.
Lions is nothing special. I mean, remember, this is back when the Lions just sucked, and they'd sucked for like 15 years. It's crazy. Nowadays, they're like one of the best teams in the league.
Pick it up on offense if you're the Lions. Is that what you're telling me?
From weeks 14 through 17, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady averaged 333 yards, 3 touchdowns, and had a passer rating of 126.9. The man was older than most of your dads out there who are watching this video and was doing that. But yeah, with the pre-snap motion and other stuff that barely existed when Tom was an embryo in the early years of the 2000s on the Patriots, the Buccaneers offense was a well-oiled
back then.
Thomas casually played the best game of his entire...
I swear that man has aged in reverse. Like, I swear, when you look at Tom Brady in the beginning of his career versus like the last year of his career, it's like he Benjamin Buttoned it. He like started out of shape and old and got younger and faster and better the whole time. It's bizarre.
Life damn near versus the Lions, going for 4 touchdowns in one half. And he didn't even care about the record. He just sat the rest of the game. Not even worth his time. So, okay, Tom did it. Finally. The narrative had begun to change. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers were terrifying in the playoffs, and everyone knew that. They had a great defense, and not the best quarterback in the league right at that moment, but the best quarterback of all time in Tom Brady. And that is just not someone who you want to see alone in a room with you, unless... But pretty much everyone had the same predictions, okay? The Bucs would take care of the Washington football team and then would lose to one of the real contenders in the NFC, which were the Packers and the Saints. Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers were simply just better, right? But the Bucs kind of just said, you know what? No. And dunked on absolutely everyone. The Commanders fought hard. The Saints offense turned the ball over 4 times, and Tom Brady and the offense did enough. They weren't very good. They averaged about 20 yards per drive, but they did beat the Saints, and Drew Brees was absolutely atrocious. And
this is why I titled the video what I did, because here we are, we're halfway through, and my goodness, it's just unbelievable. It's like they're winning the games they shouldn't win. They're beating the teams they shouldn't beat. They're playing in this way that's just, it was special. It was just special. It was unbelievable. Like, you can't believe it, except it happened. It happened.
And versus the Packers in the NFC Championship game, Brady was fine again, but the Bucs defense just continued to be on an all-time rampage. Versus the Saints and Packers, the Buccaneers forced a combined 4 interceptions. So the defense was rolling. And with Vita Vea back, they were hitting their stride at the right time. The run defense was unbearable with Sue and Vea. Shaq Barrett and JPP were ruthless in the pass rush. Levante David and Devin White were ball hawks. And Sean Murphy Bunting and Jamel Dean held down the secondary. So they did it. Against all odds, Tom Brady was back in the Super Bowl.
I will never forget, after this game, watching Drew Brees and his 2 boys talking to Tom Brady on the Saints field. Tom Brady's throwing passes to Drew Brees' kids, and like they were just talking and everything. It was sad. It was like a sad moment. Like, we'll never see Drew Brees versus Tom Brady ever again. I remember feeling that after that game. Like, what a because that was the end. I believe Drew Brees is going to retire at the end of this season. So it was like, this is the last time we're ever going to get to see two of the great quarterbacks of my generation's lifetime go at each other.
Year number 1 with no offseason, a new team, a new system, a new culture, and the man was back in the big game coming into the Super Bowl with his team scoring at least 30 points in every playoff game so far, but his opponent was probably the best Chiefs team ever. The Chiefs beat them earlier this year, and Patrick Mahomes was in prime form. And although Thomas had been his kryptonite so far in his career, the Chiefs were expected to handle business. But Mahomes did fail to destroy Brady once, so maybe now there was a chance that Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. is simply too sexy. Brady played meticulously efficient football, and the Bucs defense did the rest, holding Mahomes to 9 total points, 0 touchdowns, and the 4th lowest scoring game by the Chiefs in the entire Mahomes.
They laid the blueprint the Eagles used. How do you beat Patrick Mahomes? You shut him down. It doesn't have to worry about anything else. I'm sorry. It's the truth. You don't have to worry about anything else on the Chiefs. If you shut down Patrick Mahomes, you shut down the Chiefs.
Era to this very day. And that's even including what Carson Wentz did versus Denver this past season. So Tom Brady had accomplished what he set out. Despite being the underdog in 3 straight playoff games, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
7. I don't think people can understand this unless it's you really look at the greats of all time, right? Let's look at Terry Bradshaw was one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. He played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steel Curtain. He had 4. You look at Peyton Manning. People know Peyton Manning who aren't even football fans. He had 2. You look at Eli Manning, his brother. He's got 2. You look at Drew Brees. He's got 1. When you look at the great quarterbacks, they got 1 to 4. Tom Brady has 7. 7. He has 3 different Hall of Fame careers. He played for 3 decades, and each decade would have been a Hall of Famer. It's hard to really put it into words just how good this guy was. And this championship that he won, this moment in sports history was huge. Because like I said in the beginning of the video, the narrative going into Tom Brady leaving New England was Bill Belichick is the guy. Tom Brady really benefited from having this incredible coach and this incredible support system around him. Going to Tampa, nobody thought he was going to be able to do it. Nobody thought this was possible. And here it was happening right before our eyes. This was real. This really happened.
Perennial loser franchise was Super Bowl champions in year number 1 with Tom Brady. I cannot emphasize how ridiculously impressive this is. The best player ever, who was labeled as a checkdown merchant, changed his style of play, was 3rd in the league in yards on passes over 20 plus yards, and won his 7th Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP at the age of 43. But he might have had his most impressive feat next season. If Tom Brady, just decided to call it here.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? That's what we got to keep in mind. There's still 5 minutes left in this video. There's still time for us to get into this man broke records the entire time. From a narrative perspective, though, as an audience, we were in this weird place where now we were forced to acknowledge. I remember when Tom Brady came back 28-3 against Atlanta. Everybody was just pissed. No one in America was yeah, he's the best. We love Tom Brady. I remember everybody who wasn't in New England was dear God, this guy is too good. He's too good. I don't even like it because it doesn't make it fun anymore. This championship changed everything. It changed all that. It turned all the non-believers, all of the haters. We all had to shut up. We all had to just eat crow and accept that this man was the greatest football player ever. And there was nothing we could do about it. So the next 3 seasons, I think he played 2 or 3 seasons, we all just kind of sat back and watched greatness and appreciated it. It's really unique. We just appreciated Tom Brady. It is going to get a little weird, though, at the end. It's going to get a little weird with that. Yeah, we'll get into that.
He'd already be an inarguable success and a legend in Tampa forever, but he ran it back, and he was the best player in the NFL, 44 years old. The motherfucker was 44 and should not have been doing nothing more in life except enrolling in a hot yoga class and sexually intimidating his son's girlfriend. But no, instead, he decided to be the MVP of the NFL, or at least he should have been. He famously led the NFL in passing yards in 2021 and passing touchdowns, but he had the third most passing yards in a season ever. While still completing 68% of his passes. But the argument against Brady,
it's like when Tub Frog touched on it a little bit. It's really interesting. So like he did change his style, right? So like in New England, they played that check down, kill him with 3-4 yards every time. And in Tampa, when he finally had like real weapons, he sort of went back to how he played with Randy Moss when they almost went undefeated. And he was amazing. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl, but now it's like settling in, and now it's okay. I'm really learning how to be a gunslinger quarterback. And I don't know, maybe he was when he was in Michigan as a younger man. I'm not really sure, but I've only ever seen him at this point in history up to this as a check down quarterback as well. Other than he used to just throw bombs to Randy Moss, like, screw it, Randy's down there somewhere. He's going to catch it for like 80-yard bombs. But now he's doing that every game, and he's got two guys running on the sides, seeing if they can beat their man. And if they beat him for a second at this point in Tom Brady's career, dagger.
And the buzzsaw Buccaneers this year, who went on to win 13 games, was they were just throwing the ball a ton to pad Tom's stats, even in games they didn't need to. But that just wasn't true. By year's end, Tom Brady faced the second most difficult schedule for quarterbacks to go against in the entire NFL. He was number 1 in wins above replacement and had the highest PFF grade in the entire league at quarterback with a 92 grade, which is higher than Josh Allen's insane MVP campaign last season. So yeah, Tom Brady did not win the MVP, but he probably should have. Antonio Brown ended up taking all the headlines from this season for having an absolute mental breakdown on the sideline. You remember when that happened?
This guy literally quit in the middle of a game. That's what you're watching right now. This guy quit in the middle of a game and then launched a rap career. Concussions are what everybody says is the reason this happened. And we could probably do an entire Antonio Brown video about his whole time with the Steelers, the Killer Bees, and really the hit that everybody points to is like, that's the danger of football. And that really messed him up. I don't know if it's true, but he definitely did quit in the middle of a game.
It did. And they actually won that game. But then the Buccaneers versus the baby Eagles in the playoffs in the wild card, and ended up blowing them out.
The
but
beginning
then got
of the
to host
Eagles
a divisional
dynasty.
round versus
Well,
the Los
I don't know if
Angeles
dynasty
Rams.
yet, but
a battle of
be.
two super teams going at it. Hall of Famers everywhere. Brady, Mike Evans, Aaron Donald, Gronk, Von Miller. There was no world where this game wasn't going to be a bloodbath, and of course it was. But Tom Brady was tested for sure. No lead is safe versus Tom Brady. That's like in the NFL holy scriptures. And it looked like his legend in Tampa would only continue. After being down by 24 points, the Buccaneers battled back, and the Rams looked like they were going to become another stepping stone in the long line of teams that blow leads to Tom Brady and watched helplessly as Tom just choked them to death, leaving their mangled corpse on the floor, lifeless. And boy, was he doing just that. Tom Brady tied the game at 27-all, and for fuck's sake, he was about to get the ball back. But the Rams, luckily, had two Hall of Fame level guys that were making plays all year. And one of the most iconic catches of the last decade by Cooper Kupp set up a game-winning field goal, and Tom Brady's historic 2021 season ended with a poor performance, all things considered, but a close comeback, having 54 pass attempts in a heartbreaking home loss. And then he retired. Well, that's it, right? Brady said he was done for good. And he was ready and excited to be a full-time family man and devote way more of his time to his wife and kids. But from the shadows, the call of getting nailed by a 280-pound sweaty man kept calling to Brady. And by the end of the day, basically, the whispers got too loud and Brady said, "Fuck it, I'm back." And then his wife,
I wanted to read that.
Basically, the whispers got too loud and Brady said, "Fuck it,
These past 2 months, I've realized my place is still on the field and not in the stands. That time will come, but it's not now. I love my teammates and I love my supportive family. They make it all possible. I'm coming back for my 23rd season in Tampa. Unfinished business. Let's fucking go." Okay. I've realized my place is still on the field and not in stands. Knowing that he was going through a divorce and everything at the time sure puts that whole thing in a different context, doesn't it?
I'm back. And then his wife divorced him. But damn it, he had one more in him.
Divorced him and was sleeping with her fitness instructor, I believe, too. So she was now we don't know for sure, they could have been separated, but we do know that she was caught while they were still married out with this other guy, and then they got divorced. So it's, that's a real complicated situation. I told you, it gets weird at the end.
So here's the thing. I still stand on the title that Tom Brady should not have worked out in Tampa Bay, and it didn't harm his legacy in the slightest, but his personal life was changed forever because of the 2022 NFL season. Obviously, I don't want to speculate too much on the real reasons behind his divorce, but at the end of the day, his passion is in football, and he just was consumed by his craft, because that is what it takes to be the best ever at something. You have to be insane. And I wouldn't be surprised if, in retrospect, Brady regretted coming back in 2022, despite what he's gone on record saying. Because also the 2022 Buccaneers were not good. The O-line had 17 injuries during the season. Bruce Arians was gone. And with even less of a run game, Brady led the league in pass attempts and also had the most pass attempts of any season in his entire career. The defense was also a shell of its previous self. Brady was smashing tablets. His dick was dry. It was just not a fun year for them. And at 8-9, they somehow took the division and limped into the playoffs and got absolutely ravaged by the Dallas Cowboys, which...
Oh my God.
When that happened...
Oh my God, the Dallas Cowboys beat somebody? Oh God, that's when you know you're bad. The Cowboys beat you in the playoffs? Oof. Cowboys have been good since the year I was born.
It's time to hang up the old cleats. And so he finally did. Tom Brady retired from the NFL for good following the 2022 campaign and joined the ownership of the greatest NFL franchise ever in the Raiders. And the almost came back again, but whatever family and friends he had left must have physically contained him and drugged him to make the video he did. And that's it. From 2020 to 2022, in 3 years in Tampa, Tom Brady was second in the league in passing yards, only to Mahomes, and third in this time span as well in passing touchdowns behind Rodgers and Mahomes as well, which is not too bad for a 44-year-old man, huh? Instead of tainting his legacy with poor quarterback play, Brady played at an MVP level. He won a Super Bowl, lost his wife, and did things that no player his age will ever do again, as we've seen with Aaron Rodgers. And somehow, against all odds, he actually managed to add on to the legacy of already the greatest player in the history of football. But anyways, if you like this video, then subscribe, because I got a lot of videos on the channel just like
I want to second that too. If anybody liked this video, please subscribe to Tub Frog. I highly recommend it. Awesome YouTuber, really great. And thank you, Tub Frog, if you actually watch this ever someday. Thank you for putting these videos out. I love them. I get excited every time. But man, it's wild. It's like, kind of getting a step to look at the myth of Tom Brady in Tampa, because it's really what it is. It almost feels like a fairy tale story. It's unbelievable. The fact that they almost made it back to the Super Bowl again the next, it's just unbelievable. But that's why That's what the title of the video is. Thank you to anybody who stopped by, and I will see you for the next one.